and Marvel Jesus. I made an educated wish that movie was going to be a big hit and success. Hello everyone, I just saw Deadpool and Wolverine twice recently. It was awesome. I love this movie. Once again, it was funny, witty, hilarious, sarcastic, over the top in a funny, good way. This is a spoiler video right here. If you've not seen this movie yet, stop the video right here. Go watch this awesome, epic, badass movie. It was awesome seeing familiar faces again that I had not seen in a long time. I feel like a little kid all over again watching this movie. I'm a 2000's kid. I grew up watching Marvel comic book movies in the late 90s and 2000s. I watched the Blade movies, X-Men, the Spider-Man movies. Whether you agree with me on this or not, as a little kid I liked some of the underrated Marvel movies from the 2000s like Daredevil, both Punisher movies, and Ghost Rider. But I did not like the 2003 Ang Lee Hulk movie. That wasn't good at all. That movie was boring. The first Fantastic Four film from 2005 was not great, but alright. Not as bad as everyone said it was. The sequel, Rise of the Silver Surfer, that wasn't good. But besides that, this movie was a love letter to Marvel comic movies of the 2000s. It was fun and cool to see Jennifer Garner as Elektra again. Well, she was a good Elektra, but sadly, she was not in a good Elektra film with poor direction and writing. Again, as a little kid, I used to like that movie, but now rewatching that movie as an adult does not hold up for me like it used to. It was fun and cool seeing Wesley Snipes as Blade again, poking fun at how he did not like Ryan Reynolds when they made Blade Trinity. It was funny when Deadpool says to him, "I thought you were retired." Blade responds, "Retarded?" Also, seeing Wesley Snipes as Blade was a nice small tribute how, in the mid to late 90s, comic book movies were hit or miss, and were not being taken seriously, or were considered a joke at the time, and Blade saved the comic book movies. Also, around this time before the Blade movie, the Blade Marvel character was not a well-known character, it was a minor character, and prior to this he was on the 90s cartoon animated Spider-Man series. If it was not for the first Blade movie, we would not have good comic book movies today. Channing Tatum finally got to play Gambit. In the past, it was rumored throughout the years about him playing Gambit in a solo movie or in a future X-Men movie. Well, he finally got his chance. I cried up so hard when he was talking his French Louisiana New Orleans accent. Deadpool responds saying, "Who's your translator, the Minions?" Or want to repeat that again? It's been a long time since I've seen Sling Blade. It was nice to see X-23 from Logan. After Logan, it was rumored throughout the years about her getting her own solo movie, but it was cancelled, and I'm not sure why that is. I like the small bonding scene when Laura talks to another version of her father. This is the closest to Laura to bond with her dad again. When Logan says he was not the right fit to save the world, Laura says, "You never were, but you were the right fit." Even Logan wasn't the one to save the universe and the world, he at least tried and shine for the occasion. This motivates him and gets Laura wanting to help him stop Nova. We don't see, but we get honorable mentions of Daredevil and the Punisher were killed in the Void. When Blade uses the Punisher's weapon, Deadpool asks which Punisher. There have been 5 different actors who played the Punisher. Blade said there's only one Blade. What's funny about him saying that line, I'm thinking to myself, how there's going to be a new Blade movie in the future, but sadly Wesley Snipes won't be in that movie. It was also funny when Deadpool finds out who died, and when he finds out Magneto dies, and it makes him mad and angry. And he was upset his helmet was destroyed. I read Ryan Reynolds wanted Nicolas Cage for a cameo as Ghost Rider, but Nicolas Cage said no, and yet last year he did a crappy CGI cameo in The Flash as Superman, in a Superman movie we never got to see him in. Before Deadpool meets the other past Marvel superhero characters, it was cool to see past familiar X-Men villains like Tyler Mane as Sabretooth, Ray Park as Toad, Aaron Stanford as Pyro. The character Colessa from X-Men The Last Stand is in this movie, but she's not played by the same actress, Dana Ramirez. I'm honestly not sure who this actress was who played this character. And Juggernaut, but not played by Vinnie Jones from X-Men The Last Stand. I'm not sure why he did not come back for this movie. The Void universe felt like a spoof of Mad Max. It was funny seeing a 20th Century Fox logo destroyed, spoofing how Disney bought Fox. Well, it was going to be an epic showdown between Wolverine and Sabretooth. Instead, it was like Indiana Jones, a quick fight. Wolverine kills Sabretooth easily, decapitating his head. I love how Deadpool breaks the fourth wall saying, "You comic book nerds have been waiting for this moment for over 20 years. Seeing Chris Evans, my first thought was, okay, he's back as Captain America for a cameo. At first, Deadpool thinks he was going to say his famous catchphrase line like in the comic books, Avengers Assemble. Instead, he says, "Flame on." Deadpool's like, "What the fuck?" He plays Johnny Storm. Seeing this made me laugh and think, oh my god, I forgot he was Johnny Storm in the 2005 Fantastic Four movie. He did a great job as Captain America. It was also hilarious when he tells Noah what Johnny said about her that was not true, and she kills him by sucking his skin off. In the post-credit scenes, Deadpool watches a video on whether Deadpool killed Johnny Storm. If Johnny really said the mean words, Deadpool repeated to Nova. It was funny when Deadpool tries to find Wolverine in a different universe. The first Wolverine he meets is short because Wolverine is a short dude in the comic books. It was also funny we got to see Henry Cavill for a short cameo in a universe where Henry Cavill played Wolverine. In this movie as Logan for a brief second. If he's not even playing Superman anymore, my guess is he might possibly play Wolverine, but I'm honestly not sure he'll be playing Wolverine anytime soon in the near future. Deadpool Beats Wolverine is about to fight the Hulk, a tribute to when Wolverine made his debut in Hulk Comics number 181 in 1974. Wolverine finally wears his famous iconic costume and mask. Deadpool says after 20 years you will finally wear your famous costume and iconic mask. This made me think of the first X-Men movie when Logan joins the X-Men on his first mission. He says, "You actually wear these costumes?" Cyclops responds, "What do you expect, yellow spandex?" Seeing Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine was fun, great, exciting. Last year I showed my dad Logan because he had never seen it before. Last year was my second viewing seeing Logan. Haven't seen that movie since the movie theaters. I forgot how good that movie really is, and it was a good setup to the character ending his legacy. After that movie I thought, well, guess that's it. No more Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. But my guess Ryan Reynolds persuaded Hugh Jackman to come back as Wolverine. Despite playing Logan in this movie, Hugh Jackman said this is a different version of the character, and the old Logan is still gone. But as Deadpool joked in the movie, Fox killed off Logan, Disney bought him back, he will still be doing this until he's 90. This movie felt like a buddy comedy to movies like Midnight Run, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and 48 Hours. The only one Deadpool finds the real Logan, but of course he's dead. This makes him upset, because it won't be a Deadpool and Wolverine movie without the real Logan. These time travels are after Deadpool. He kills him while the song Bye Bye from NSYNC is on the background. While Deadpool kills the bad guy, he's also dancing. And already, TikTok videos have exploded with this opening dance sequence. Seeing this reminded the second X-Men movie, Logan, Rogue, Iceman, and Pyro escape the mansion after it's attacked by Stryker. They get in a car, Pyro puts the radio on, and NSYNC's Bye 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 tunes on. Using the song from Grease, you're the only one that I want. My theory on this is because Olivia Newton-John passed away 2 years ago. I would not be surprised if Ryan Reynolds recommended let's use this song from Grease when Wolverine and Deadpool fight each other in the Honda car. It was funny when Deadpool meets an alternate version of Deadpool called Nice Pool. He's not a bad mouth. He's a hippie, witty, and a free spirit. But unlike Deadpool, he does not rejuvenate. Deadpool used him as a shield when they fought the other version of Deadpool from different universes. He likes his dog Mary Poppins. When they fight the other Deadpools, they rejuvenate, but Peter saves the day. They all love Peter. Not to get off topic, I recently went to Monster Mania this past week with my dad, and I saw a guy dressed in a combo Bane and Deadpool. He was Banepool. I like how they poke fun at how the recent MCU movies haven't been as good as the original ones from 10 years ago. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't kept up with the recent MCU movies the last 4 years. The last MCU movie I saw until recently was the second Tom Holland Spider-Man MCU movie. When COVID got bad during lockdown, they postponed a lot of movies because of the pandemic. Once lockdown was over, I don't know why, I had no interest or desire to see the new MCU movies. But I might make some exceptions in the near future, but that's a different story. Don't get me wrong, I love comic books in general, I grew up reading comic books. There are good superhero comic book movie exceptions, but again, that's also a different story. The latest MCU movies lost their touch. For me, so far, the best comic book superhero movie was Robert Pattinson's Batman movie 2 years ago. Not to get off topic, what made that movie so good that it did not focus on a cinematic universe, it just focused on Batman. That's what made good comic book movies in the past. No cinematic universe, it just focused on one thing only, the main character superhero. Some fans think this movie saved the MCU movies. Well, it depends. I can't say on that because, like I said before, I haven't kept up with the last MCU movies in the last 4 years, so I can't make a comment on that. It's strange, I never imagined that Deadpool will be added to the MCU, and like any fan, it raises concerned questions on will Deadpool be kid-friendly, or will they bleep out him cursing, but no. Ryan Reynolds does his usual funny one-liners, over the top, breaks the fourth wall, annoys Wolverine, both pointing out their flaws. But from what I read, Ryan Reynolds cannot improvise every joke because of the strike. Reading this made me worry, like, oh no, does that mean the jokes will not work? Will they be flat, stale? But from watching this movie, the jokes still work well. This is probably one of my favorite comedy movies I've seen in a long time. I can't remember the last good comedy movie I've seen in the last 10 plus years. It's hard to find good comedy movies these days, especially the times we're living in right now, with cancel culture, and the people being too sensitive these days, and can't take a joke. Now that this movies spoof past, present Marvel movies, I feel like I got a little spoof on different multi-universes like The Flash that came out the last year, despite that's DC and a different story. Because we saw different versions of Deadpool, that was funny and cool. Before seeing this movie, I saw an online photo of Lady Deadpool. I guessed it right away. This was Ryan Reynolds' wife, Blake Lively, but I did not know that she only did the voice of Lady Pool. I also did not know Ryan Reynolds' kids were in this movie as Kid Pool and Baby Pool. Matthew McConaughey's a voice cameo as Cowboy Pool. Too bad TJ Miller, Josh Brolin, and Domino are not in this movie. I like those characters a lot in the last two movies. I know TJ Miller said he was not coming back for this movie because he found Ryan Reynolds difficult to work with. I guess Cable got back to his home where he belongs. I'm not sure why the actress who played Domino did not come back for this movie. Like I said in my Deadpool video on Deadpool 2, I wish there was more Vanessa. Apparently, they broke up at the start of this movie. Wade was not happy that he was rejected by the Avengers. Despite that, of course, they were still hinting at them still having feelings for each other. We've all been there and done that before. The moral of this movie is Deadpool was trying to work on loving himself and live his dream of being a hero, even if he was not going to be an Avenger. The movie opens up with Wade Wilson being interviewed by Happy Hogan for a position as the Avengers. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the job. It was funny when Wade asks Happy Hogan what his superpower is, and he goes, what, parallel parking? It's also funny when Wade says Hulk's masturbator. The interview gone wrong. The villain of this movie is worse than Frances and the Evil Doer. She was the most overpowering villain. She's Charles Xavier's brother. I'm not sure I'm familiar with this character in the X-Men comic books that I'm aware of. I'm not sure if Charles Xavier have any siblings in the comic books. Here's my friend Jeremy's recording giving his thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine.
I really enjoyed Deadpool and Wolverine. It was great to see Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman team up together, and Jackman's return as Wolverine was awesome. I loved the humor in the movie, especially during the opening credits where Deadpool uses Wolverine's skeleton as a weapon. The fight scenes were very entertaining, especially when Deadpool and Wolverine fight each other. For a lot of the movie, Deadpool is a thorn in Wolverine's side, and it's just great to watch. I also loved Wolverine's costume in the movie, which is more accurate to the comic books. The movie's R rating means that there's plenty of blood, gore, and swearing, which is great to see in a comic book movie. All in all, this movie is a great time, and I highly recommend it.
I like at the end of the movie they had archived footage of behind the scenes of every X-Men and Fox Marvel comic book movies. The song Good Riddance by Green Day is playing. When watching that, it made me think how being a little kid in the 2000s was the time to start being a Marvel fan and get into reading Marvel comic books thanks to these movies and my dad. Heck, this year I met Sam Raimi at Monster Mania. I said this before on my Monster Mania video trip, but here it is again. When I met Sam Raimi, he asked me if I like Spider-Man comic books. I told him how his Spider-Man movies got me into reading the Spider-Man comic books, and then he told me to pose as Spider-Man in front of the camera. My 5-second direction by Sam Raimi. How cool and awesome is that? As a kid, my dad would take me to go see the Marvel comic book movies, and I would read the comic books. As a kid reading comic books, I said to myself, how cool would it be if these were made into movies? Why does this movie remind me of what comic book movies meant at the time in the 2000s? This is the kind of movie you can sit here all day and nerd up the nostalgia of the 2000s Marvel comic book movies. But the main highlight of this movie is seeing Deadpool and Wolverine team up, kick ass, and save the world together. This movie also made me want to go back and revisit some older Marvel comic book movies from the 2000s. That wraps up today's video. See you next time for more good stuff coming soon.